Number A. Single human was once rescued. Now a whole fleet comes answering the call. 2 years after the Battle of Centauri Junction, the long-range sensors at the edge of the galaxy detected something that filled every species with existential dread. A massive object, larger than most star systems, was approaching from the void between galaxies. The readings defied conventional understanding of physics and biology, suggesting a creature so vast that entire fleets could be lost within its body, without the entity even noticing. Sarah Chen stood in the command center of New Terra Station, humanity's newest military installation built specifically to coordinate the galaxy's defense against Void Hunter incursions. The station orbited Earth, serving as both a symbol of humanity's rapid rise to galactic prominence and a fortress protecting the species' homeworld. Around her, holographic displays showed the positions of the largest military fleet ever assembled in galactic history. The United Galactic Fleet numbered over 10,000 ships, representing every spacefaring species in the known galaxy. Massive Mokari battleships bristled with weapons designed to crack planets. Sleek Zephyrian cruisers carried experimental energy weapons that could disrupt matter at the molecular level. Ancient ethereal vessels, comprised entirely of crystallized energy, pulsed with power that could ignite stars. Even the normally pacifist Lumina had contributed their healing ships, massive medical facilities capable of treating wounded crews from any species. But the approaching entity, designated as the Void Mother by terrified astronomers, made even this unprecedented armada seem insignificant. Early scans suggested it was not a single creature but rather a collective organism containing billions of smaller Void Hunter bioships within its vast body. It was a mobile homeworld, a living galaxy unto itself, carrying with it the accumulated hunger of eons spent devouring civilizations across the universe. General Harrison, the gruff military commander who had reluctantly accepted Sarah's authority over the combined fleet, briefed her on the latest intelligence reports. The Void Mother was approaching slowly but inexorably, taking its time to study the galaxy's defenses through advanced scout creatures that had infiltrated every major star system. These scouts were nearly undetectable, hiding within asteroid belts and gas clouds, while gathering information about military installations, population centers, and defensive capabilities. Sarah studied the tactical displays with growing concern. The viral weapon that had proved so effective against individual Void Hunter collectives would be useless against something this vast and complex. The Void Mother possessed multiple layers of consciousness, backup networks, and adaptive systems that could isolate and contain any information-based attack. Conventional weapons would be equally ineffective, like trying to kill a planet with small arms fire. But humanity had not survived its rise to galactic prominence by accepting impossible odds. Sarah's team had been working on something unprecedented. A project that combined the best technology and capabilities of every species in the galaxy. The plan was so ambitious and dangerous that many considered it tantamount to suicide. But it was the only strategy with even a theoretical chance of success. The key was Earth itself. Humanity's homeworld had been secretly converted into a massive weapon system over the past 2 years, its continents bristling with hidden defense installations, while its core contained a modified quantum resonance device capable of tearing holes in the fabric of space-time. The planet had become a trap, designed to lure the Void Mother into range of the most powerful weapon ever conceived by galactic civilization. The plan required perfect timing and unprecedented cooperation between species that had been enemies for millennia. The Mokari would engage the Void Mother's outer defenses, drawing its attention while the Zephyrian fleet created interference patterns to mask Earth's true nature. The Ethereals would use their energy manipulation abilities to hide the planet's quantum signature until the crucial moment. As the Void Mother entered the solar system, its true size became apparent. The creature stretched across space like a living nebula, its body containing countless bioships that moved through internal channels larger than planetary orbits. Thousands of feeding tentacles, each one the size of a moon, extended toward the inner planets, preparing to drain the life force from everything in the system. The battle began as planned, with Mokari battleships engaging the creature's outer defenses while smaller vessels darted between its feeding appendages, targeting what appeared to be sensory organs. The Void Mother's response was immediate and overwhelming, releasing swarms of smaller creatures that filled space like a living storm. The bioships were unlike anything previously encountered, each one perfectly adapted for specific combat roles within the larger organism's defense system. Sarah coordinated the battle from Earth's command center, watching as brave crews from dozens of species fought against impossible odds to keep the creature's attention focused away from the planet. The Zephyrian captain Vel Thanos sacrificed his entire squadron to destroy a massive sensory cluster, preventing the Void Mother from detecting the quantum weapon's charging sequence. 3 Mokari battle groups formed a defensive line around Jupiter, using the gas giant's gravity to their advantage, while they bombarded the creature's advanced scouts. But the Void Mother was learning from each engagement, adapting its tactics, and sending increasingly powerful bioships to counter each new strategy. Worse, the creature was beginning to probe Earth's defenses directly, its massive consciousness somehow sensing that the planet was more than it appeared to be. Several feeding tentacles turned toward Earth, moving with purpose, rather than the random hunger that characterized most Void Hunter behavior. With the quantum weapon still charging and the fleet taking devastating casualties, Sarah made a decision that would be remembered throughout galactic history. She activated every emergency beacon in the solar system simultaneously, broadcasting a signal that reached across the galaxy in minutes. The message was simple but carried weight that transcended mere words. Humanity was calling in every favor, every debt of gratitude, and every alliance forged since their arrival on the galactic stage. The response was immediate and overwhelming. From every corner of the galaxy, ships began arriving through emergency jump points. These were not military vessels but civilian craft, mining ships, exploration vessels, cargo haulers, and passenger transports. Their crews represented hundreds of species, beings whose lives had been touched by human ingenuity, courage, or simple kindness over the decades since first contact. The Kepler 447 survivors were among the first to arrive, their mixed crews still bearing the scars of their encounter with Void Hunters 5 years earlier. Mining collectives from the Outer Rim brought their heavily armored ships and industrial-grade cutting tools. Diplomatic vessels arrived carrying ambassadors who had worked with human negotiators to prevent wars and broker peace agreements. Even former enemies responded to the call. Pirate fleets that had been pacified through Sarah's diplomatic efforts emerged from hidden bases, their captains declaring temporary truces with civilized society. Merchant cartels contributed their fastest ships, while religious orders brought vessels blessed by dozens of different faiths and carrying the prayers of billions of believers. The arriving ships numbered in the hundreds of thousands, far exceeding the official military fleet in both size and diversity. They formed a living wall around Earth, their crews united not by military discipline but by shared respect for the species that had repeatedly done the impossible when faced with extinction. The Void Mother paused in its assault, its vast consciousness struggling to process the sudden appearance of so many vessels. For perhaps the first time in its ancient existence, the creature encountered something it had never seen before. An entire galaxy willing to risk everything to protect a single world, not out of fear or obligation, but out of genuine affection and respect. As the quantum weapon reached full charge, Sarah stood before a communication screen that showed the faces of captains from across the galaxy. Zephyrian commanders who had once considered humans primitive, Mokari warriors who now called humans their battle brothers, ethereal masters who had acknowledged human wisdom, even representatives of species that had never directly interacted with humanity, but had heard the stories of human achievement and sacrifice. The weapon fired at the moment the Void Mother committed its full attention to the fleet, sending a quantum pulse through the creature's body that disrupted the fundamental forces holding its massive form together. The effect was catastrophic for the ancient entity, causing its bioships to lose cohesion and its collective consciousness to fragment into billions of confused individual minds. But the real victory was not the destruction of the Void Mother, impressive as that achievement was. The true triumph was the sight of hundreds of thousands of ships from hundreds of different species working together as a single unified force. Rescue vessels pulled survivors from damaged bioships, even former enemies now working side by side. Medical ships treated the wounded without regard to species or origin. Supply vessels shared resources freely, ensuring that no ship went without essential needs. In the aftermath of the battle, as the scattered remains of the Void Mother drifted harmlessly through space, Sarah found herself surrounded by representatives from every species in the galaxy. They had come not to celebrate a military victory, but to acknowledge something far more significant: the emergence of a truly galactic civilization based on cooperation rather than domination. The human species had achieved something unprecedented in galactic history. They had not conquered their enemies but had instead transformed them into allies. They had not imposed their will through force but had instead demonstrated the power of compassion, ingenuity, and stubborn refusal to accept defeat. As Earth's sky filled with ships from across the galaxy, each crew eager to share stories and forge new friendships, Sarah realized that humanity's greatest achievement was not the defeat of the Void Hunters. Instead, it was the proof that different species could not only coexist but could thrive together, each contributing their unique strengths to face challenges that no single civilization could overcome alone. The galaxy would never forget the day when a single distress call from one human world brought together the greatest fleet in history. It was the moment when the dream of true galactic unity became reality, founded not on treaties or laws, but on the simple recognition that sometimes doing the right thing was more important than doing the safe thing. And somewhere among the stars, other civilizations in distant galaxies would eventually hear the story of how humanity and its allies faced the darkness between worlds and emerged victorious not through superior firepower, but through the revolutionary idea that every life was worth protecting, every species had value to contribute, and every individual could make a difference when they chose to stand together rather than apart.